Hello again, and welcome to the sixth in this short series of videos designed to make you a better trader by giving you an insight into the things that were taught to me with my 20 years inside the market. One of the things that was stressed when I started was attitude, the psychology of trading. In fact, we weren't even supposed to take a position or do anything that vaguely resembled trading until we'd been at the company for 6 months. The reason was because they couldn't trust that we'd have learned those all-important lessons about attitude. As it turned out, I actually ended up trading after 3 months because I jumped at an opportunity when it came and I sat down. But from the point of view of my management at that time, that showed that I had the right attitude. I was positive, but I was controlled because when I sat in that desk and started, I turned to my boss and said, "Hey, keep an eye on me today." So he knew that I was positive, but I was aware of the risks I was going into. And that is the kind of attitude you have to have, and there's ways to achieve it. And it really, if you can get it right, it is the key to long-term success. It's going to define whether you make or lose money over time. As I said, you need confidence, but it's a delicate balance. You have to have the confidence to actually pull the trigger and execute a trade, but at the same time, you have to remain flexible. If your confidence veers into overconfidence, where you think you can't be wrong because you went into it so confident that you had the right idea, then you're in trouble. The market is never wrong. It can't be. It's simply a reflection of where a buyer and a seller last agreed to trade. It can't be wrong by definition, but you can be. You can be wrong in your view of where you thought the market was going to go. You have to understand that at all times. And the best traders are wrong a lot. You can't let it bother you. You can't get stubborn. You have to take the evidence at face value that's right in front of your eyes. And sometimes that means you're going to take a loss. So how do you deal with loss? It's one of the most important things. When I was training people and hiring people in dealing rooms around the world later in my career, how they reacted to losses was how I judged them. Because losses are inevitable. They're a part of the job. Even if you don't trade for a living, even if you don't trade as a job, even if you're just trading to take control of your own future, of your own finances, they're going to come along. They're part of the everyday existence of a trader. Remember when we spoke about the 3 big mistakes? And mistake number 3, the biggest of the big mistakes, was the big blowout? Well, that doesn't come because people are stupid. It becomes because people have this natural tendency to ignore bad things. It's kind of what keeps us alive as human beings sometimes, stops us all blowing our brains out when things go wrong. So we have that tendency, but as a trader, you have to suppress that tendency and just ignore it. And when things go wrong, pay attention and do something about it. That way you avoid that big blowout. The way you do that is you go into each trade having a plan and you stick to it. It's about discipline. Discipline for a trader involves setting targets going in. You know what you're trying to make out of the trade, and you know where you're going to cut it at the time you execute the trade, and you actually physically place those orders at that time. Because when you set your stops in advance, they're based on logic, not emotion. If you wait until the trade is live and you're losing money, right where you are may be the logical place to cut. Because if it breaks through a certain level, it may be going lower, and you're pretty sure of that. But if you're looking at it without that order set in advance, you don't want to cut right now because it may come back. So you're going to go further down. You're going to increase your losses. Everybody does it if they don't have preset parameters. But remember, it's all about risk reward. That's what successful trading is. And if you make more money on your winners than you lose on your losers, you win. I know I've said that before in these videos, and I say it time and time and time again to my students because it's the key to successful trading. And it works. The math works. 100% of our energy trader team members made money in the first 3 months of trading. We know that because we sent out a survey to them. 100% of them made money. And 100% of them were satisfied and said they'd recommend Energy Trader Team to anybody who asked. Why? Because we taught them the discipline as well as the techniques. And we do it as an ongoing thing. I can tell you this now, and you may do it for a few days, but unless you've got somebody in your corner reminding you, it's really hard to stick to it. And that's the key, sticking to it. It's not just losses that can give you problems. Winners can give you problems too. Always remember, I was always told, you know what? Making money is your job. That's what you make. You don't make a table or anything or a widget that somebody uses for another widget. You make money. That's doing your job. But it doesn't make you a genius to make money trading. As I've said, it's simple math. You make more on your winners and you lose on your losers. You have a plan, you stick to it. It's really not that difficult to make money trading. It's not as difficult as some people make it. And they make it difficult because they don't have the right attitude, the right psychology going in. Right? And don't fall into the temptation of, oh, well, I've had 4 winning trades in a row. Right, I'm going to double up now. We're going to go, right? Just wait. Because if you've had 4 winners in a row, you can bet your life there's a loser coming around the corner. And it's all about making more on your winners and you lose on your losers. And if you start playing with your trade size and messing around with that, then that becomes very, very hard to do. So to just kind of pull all this together and make some general points, one of the things that I was told when I started, I had a very, very wise mentor and teacher when I started in the Forex market as a young lad. And he said a bunch of things to me that stuck with me for my entire career. But one of the ones that is most relevant here, he said to me once, you know what, man? When trading becomes boring to you, you're doing it right. What he meant by that was you've taken the emotion out of it. You don't feel the huge highs from getting something right and the huge lows from getting something wrong, because both of those will lead you to make bad decisions. So you're really striving for the point when what you're doing every day becomes routine and pretty boring. I got to say, that didn't sound like a great kind of thing for my career, that I was going to get bored, but I understood what he meant, and I understood it more as time went on. Don't obsess about your profit and loss, your P&L day to day. You need to keep track of it, but really on a kind of a monthly basis or even more on a quarterly basis, because there will be good days and bad days. And if you really worry about your overall P&L every single day, then you kind of are going to get too worried about your losers or too excited about your winners. It comes naturally. So, look at it every month. Okay, so, I made $5,000 this month. Yeah, it's not bad, End of the second month, I made $3,000 this month. Third month, I made $4,000 this month. And you'll find that if you do that and you take that emotion and that gut reaction thing out of it, then you will consistently make money pretty much every month. You might have a bad month thrown in, but, so I say, even longer if need be, quarterly. And the reason is because you're trading in a disciplined way. Most of us have heard people say that taking emotion out of trading is a good thing, but they don't tell us how to do it. I was actually taught specific ways to do it, and that's what I teach my people in the Energy Trader Team, is these specific ways to do it. But discipline is the key. It really is. Having a plan and sticking to it. You can't dwell on your losses or overly celebrate your profits, because both losses and profits are going to come your way. But if you do it right, you can consistently make money. All right, so coming up, we will go to the 7th and final video in this series, and I'm going to tell you what you need to succeed. I've told you a lot of what you need to succeed in terms of, some basic trade setups to look for, mistakes to avoid, the psychology and attitude you need, which we covered in this segment, which is really, really important. But you also need to actually get yourself set up. You need to find a broker. You need to know what to look for in a broker. So that's what we're going to cover in the seventh and final video, is what I call the nuts and bolts of trading. How to get yourself started and set yourself up for success. See you then.